that I'm recording this. Awesome. And we'll share my screen and get right into it. Awesome. Can you guys hear me okay? Just give me like a thumbs up. Sick. Okay. I'm so pumped for this. So the reason that I wanted to talk about this topic in particular is because of the book that I've actually been rereading or re-listening to. It's an audiobook called Strong Women Lift Each Other Up. And this is by Molly Galbraith at Girls Gone Strong. So if you've never heard of Girls Gone Strong, it is such an amazing company. They talk a lot about these kinds of topics. They teach a lot of coaches, they teach a lot of trainers, all kinds of people, and they also have like free courses that are all surrounding improving your body image. They have a lot of pre and postnatal work, all kinds of stuff. So today we're going to be talking mostly about how to improve your self-confidence and how to stop comparing yourself so that you can accomplish your fitness and fat loss goals. Because when you're stuck in this constant place of, comparing yourself, scarcity mindset, feeling like there's not enough to go around, and you're beating yourself up, you find yourself gossiping, all that negative energy is obviously going to weigh on you, and you're not going to become your best self. So this is all about becoming your best self so that you can accomplish the goals that you are striving for, that you deserve to accomplish. So we'll jump right into it. What we're going to cover is why this is important. So why should we lift each other up? What we're actually used to. So like the typical, what's typically happening in our friend groups and our family groups on social media, all kinds of stuff like that, what's typical. And being from the Midwest, I feel like it's even more typical around our area. So I think you guys this will resonate with you quite a bit. The next thing is called the ripple effect. We're going to talk what that is and what that looks like and how you can start on making a ripple effect in your life, noticing scarcity mindset in yourself and in others, some exercises to reflect and become aware of your own tendencies, because this is all self-reflection. How we become aware is how we change things. And then some common mistakes and pitfalls so that you don't make those along this journey. So the first thing is why we need to lift each other up. So the first thing, the first reason that this is so important, as you can imagine, one of my favorite things is the story that Bedros Keuilian talks about in his book Man Up. And there's this guy fishing and he's got this bucket of crabs, right? And he could see in the bucket of crabs, there was one crab that was climbing up on all the other crabs and he was about to get out of the bucket, right? And he said, hey, to the fisherman, he was like, hey, that crab's about to get out of there. And the fisherman didn't even look down. He was like, yeah, but watch. And all of the other crabs in the bucket literally reached up, grabbed this other crab who was like ambitious and trying to get out, grabbed his leg and just pulled him back down. So none of the crabs let each other get out of the bucket because they just something about it, right? So when you hear this story, like think about the people in your life that are maybe pulling you down. Maybe you're one of the crabs that's pulling that person down and you don't even realize it. So we're going to talk a lot about what that looks like and how you can stop being a crab. And this is a really good quote from Molly from the book. Whether it's in sports, government, business, academia, home life, or more, when women do the important work of lifting one another up, everything changes for all of us. So you can help each other in all of these aspects and not miss out in your own life. So it is possible. So this is typically what we're used to in our own lives. Envy, it starts with feelings of jealousy stemming from the scarcity mindset. And we'll talk about what scarcity mindset is in a second, that leads us to have these negative thoughts and feelings about ourselves and about others. So we may compare our own bodies to maybe other moms, other people our age, our peers, and even like other athletes, people on social media. And we might think to ourselves that our own bodies are not good enough because of that comparison. Maybe we think we're not lean enough, we're not toned enough, we don't have enough muscles, or maybe it even leads to like, we don't have enough, maybe we don't have the stuff that they have, material objects, maybe we don't have the family they have, that kind of thing. And this leads to negative self-talk, gossip, hate, and just poor decision making, because when you're in this negative mindset, you probably aren't making the best decisions for yourself or the people around you or for your goals, right? It's hard to make good decisions when you're not feeling the best. When you feel pretty shitty about yourself, you're not going to do the right things, right? You're going to it's going to lead to like comforting things or avoidant tendencies, those kinds of things, right? So next, moving into gossip, when we use our word to speak about other women's bodies, even our own bodies negatively, or other women's lives, their actions, their appearances, their wealth, careers, etc., this is poison. It hurts you the most, the people who hear you, and sometimes the person it's about if they hear it too, right? Gossip is a bad habit that we have the power to stop when we are more aware of our habits surrounding it and come from an abundant mindset. So this is all about becoming aware of those, right? And don't judge yourself for these things. We're going to talk a lot about that whenever you are self-reflecting on this. If you have habits like this, that's totally okay. Maybe you were raised in a family that was like that. Maybe at school it was like that. It's hard to get out of that conditioning because it's subconscious. But consciously, when you become aware of it, you're able to change it. Right? Moving into scarcity. This is when you have a scarcity mindset, it feels like there's not enough money, careers, promotions, positions, partners, attention, etc., to go around when there actually is. This world is an abundant world. There is so much for us. There's so many resources out there for you. Just because somebody else is succeeding does not mean that you can't succeed. And that's what this is all about. This stems from the patriarchy and being underrepresented in numerous positions. Like you don't see a lot of women in government offices getting sponsorships, careers, there's pay gaps and more. So in society, it makes sense why we have this scarcity mindset. We're told to believe these things, right? But when we come from a place of abundance and positivity, you will realize we can help each other get the things that we truly want. And you're going to see this. And this is why I want my clients to watch this. This is why I want clients to participate in this, is because when you come from this place, you're able to support each other more and help other people to get to their goals. So this is what the ripple effect is. Think of it as when you do something for another woman, it's going to affect them in such a positive way that they do something for another woman, that they do something. And that's what the ripple effect is. And this whole thing is impact. So how are you impacting the women around you? And it might be something as simple that starts with giving a woman a genuine compliment. And I'm not talking about, hey, your hair looks nice, or hey, nice hat or outfit. I'm talking about like, and those things can help too. Like maybe somebody's having a bad day, totally cool. But when you give somebody a genuine compliment and you're like, hey, I appreciate how honest you were with me, or hey, at work, like I appreciate you helping me, or it doesn't even have to be surrounding that. It could be like, wow, I love the way that you parent your children. I love the way that you're honest and set boundaries with people. I love the respect that you carry in the conversations you have with people, those kinds of things, right? And that compliment might lead another woman to compliment somebody else. And then it leads to these other things. And then maybe you get to a point where that person recommends a woman for a job opportunity. And then maybe we buy from a woman-owned business. There's so many different things that you can do that are going to lift each other up. And when you come from this place of like lifting others up, it reciprocates, right? So you start to get that in your own life too. And when you start doing this, you will notice these things. It's crazy. It sounds crazy even, but when you start to do these things, it does come back. And when you do it from a place of not getting anything back, like no expectations to get back, but you really do. So this is what happens whenever you break the ripple effect. So you can see how this can kind of tear down pretty easily, because what happens whenever you get to that point and you don't give a woman credit for her idea, right? So this entire thing, like I said at the beginning, this is from Molly Galbraith. She created these things. So if I were to come in here and be like, oh, I made all of this, you know what I mean? Like giving credit where it's due, maybe not speaking up when a woman is being gossiped about. So this is a really hard one to do, but when you hear somebody saying those mean things, when you hear somebody just like shit talking somebody, instead of joining in, you can walk away from it. You can speak up. And I know these things are hard. Trust me, I've done them. They are tough. My face gets all red. I get hives. It's a hard conversation. And It is, it really is. But whenever you do it, it helps the ripple effect because you call out that behavior, maybe not in a mean way. Try not to make it mean. Another thing, deciding not to share another woman's work. So if you're on, this kind of applies for maybe in your own work and things like that. If you see somebody doing a good job that you work with, speak up on that. Tell the boss, like, hey, she is like putting in the work. She is doing phenomenal. Speak up on those things. Like, that's okay. Like if she gets that promotion, that's awesome. And that came from you like speaking up about how awesome she was doing. That makes it even better. Another one, not recommending a woman for an opportunity. So if you're like if you know somebody that would be great for this opportunity, like let that person know. And it just, again, lifting each other up. It's like we're helping them get out of the bucket instead of pulling them down. So into this one, I hope you guys can see the top here. This is all about jealousy. So this is a real reflection activity. If you want, you can screenshot this. It helps out a ton. If you feel yourself feeling jealousy, let me kind of move my screen here. Hopefully I can. Perfect. So if you feel yourself feeling jealousy, ask yourself these questions. And this is kind of like a flow chart to help you through this. So you're feeling jealous, right? You feel that pang of jealousy. Maybe you're scrolling through Instagram, you see somebody and you see their body and you think to yourself, I'm jealous. Okay. First question, do I want what they have? If the answer is no, awesome. You don't actually want it. So you can let that jealousy go. All right. You don't have to feel jealous. If you're not sure, further self-reflection. So I would go into just, really asking yourself, where's this jealousy stemming from? Who told you that you're not like that? Or who told you whatever? I like to ask a lot of questions for these. Get curious. That's the biggest thing. When you feel jealousy or feel any emotion rising up, get curious about it. Next, so do you want what they have? Maybe you do want that kind of body. Okay. Am I willing to do what it takes to get it? All right. Am I willing to do the things that, like, for example, if this woman's body is a certain way, maybe there's plastic surgery involved, or maybe there's a lot of dieting involved, or a lot of workouts at the gym. Am I willing to actually do those things? If the answer is no, then you don't actually want it. You can let that jealousy go, right? But if the answer is yes, you are willing to do it, do those actions align with your values? So to go back to the plastic surgery thing, and I like to talk about this one because this is one that I've thought about myself too. I've seen, and again, there's nothing wrong with any of these things, so please don't take it this way, but I've thought of altering my face with maybe cheek fillers or with Botox. That's been like the biggest thing. And a lot of my friends have those things, right? So I asked myself, am I willing to do what it takes to get it? I hate needles, so no. Okay, I'm not actually jealous about it, right? I think it looks awesome, but I don't actually want it, right? Or maybe it's, let me think. In the past, whenever I was like 18, 19, I kind of wanted a boob job, that kind of thing. Do those align with my values? Now, at the time, like my values did not align with doing that, and they still kind of don't. So no. And then you can follow the flow chart, right? You don't actually want it. So you can let that jealousy go. Now let's talk about like getting leaner or something like that. You want to lose body fat, and that's what you felt jealous of. Right? So do these actions align with my values? Now, there is some other activities to kind of figure out what your values are, but I would ask yourself, do these actions align with my deeper why? And you should have completed like a deeper why training at this point, or if you don't have that, then go ahead and DM me why. Just in all caps, I'll know what you're talking about, and I'll send you that training so that you can figure out what your values are and what your deeper why is. Now, if this thing that you're jealous of aligns with that, the answer is yes, then great. I can use these emotions as fuel to propel me in the direction of my goals. So instead of feeling negative emotions like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad that she has these things and I don't, oh my gosh, this is so motivating. I'm so inspired by her to take action. So you can see how those two sentences, negative and positive, like we're going the more positive route, right? All right, moving into scarcity mindset. So within scarcity mindset, this is what we talked about at the beginning. It's the opposite of abundance. It's feeling like there's not enough to go around. So this activity is going to help you a ton. So this is something that you can start doing right now. You can screenshot this one as well, but over the next several days, record when you recognize signs of scarcity mindset. So you might observe examples of it on TV, in movies, on social media, maybe it's in podcasts or on the radio, maybe it's at work, within your friend group, family functions, or even at your place of worship. So every place that you go, try to notice these kind of signs and just observe them. You can set a daily reminder on your phone to reflect on your day and note any signs of scarcity mindset you've seen, such as, and here's some examples for you to get a good idea of what this looks like. And then you can journal about these, write them down. You can send them to your coach or anything like that where you're noticing these things. And this just helps you to become more aware. Like I said at the beginning, when you're conscious and awake to these things, you're able to change how you process them and how you feel about them. So the first one, women speaking negatively about their own bodies. So this might come up, you might even notice yourself doing this. If you find yourself doing check-in photos or trying something on and you hear your mind just go to, oh my gosh, I'm so fat, or I can't even fit in these jeans, like something's wrong with me. Or maybe you hear your mom or your sister saying something negative about her own body. Just make a mental note. You don't have to say anything. I wouldn't start with that. Just make a mental note, or even keep a notes file in your app and write these things down as they come up. Next, people commenting on other women's bodies. This is huge. And this is something that I've seen, oh my gosh, so much of this. Just think of it this way, like somebody, it tends to, I don't want to stereotype, but it does tend to be more men that I've noticed myself, like dads or uncles just commenting and saying something about somebody else's body. It's not okay. But whenever you notice it, take a note of it. Take a note of when it's happening, where it's happening, and how it made you feel. Next, people commenting on what women are wearing or what they should or shouldn't wear. This comes up a lot in different places. So this might come up in the gym that you go to, talking about you're not allowed to wear sports bras, or you're not allowed to wear shorts. Or even if it's somebody saying, like, if they see somebody in shorts and they're like, oh, that person shouldn't wear shorts. Make a note of these things and where you're at, and just the more descriptive you can be, the better. So it just creates this place where your mind is just so aware to it that when you hear it, you're able to cut that off and be like, okay, this thought or this comment is not true, and it does not help me in my life, right? Next, women talking about the diet they're currently on or which one they're cheating on. So if you hear somebody say, oh, I can't have that, or, oh, I wish I could have dessert, but I can't, or even commenting on your food, that kind of thing. Next, women talking about what they are or aren't allowed to eat. So I kind of already touched on this. Women expressing guilt about or justifying things they do not care for themselves. This kind of thing, like having that guilt, kind of goes back to feeling guilty about doing certain things, or justifying things they do. This kind of thing shows up. This one's hard for me, especially, but like taking a day off, taking a rest day and like feeling guilty about it. Or maybe it's doing some sort of self-care for yourself and feeling guilty about it. Maybe it's like, taking a date night with your husband and you get a babysitter and you feel guilt about it. Those kinds of things. We all, just because we're human, we deserve to take care of ourselves, right? And then lastly, people gossiping about or talking down on other women. So again, everywhere that you notice these things, try not to judge yourself or judge those people. This is kind of an experiment. Scarcity mindset affects all of us, and judging or criticizing others for it does not help. Instead, by noticing, naming, and recording what you see and hear, you'll gain a greater awareness for all the ways scarcity mindset seeps into your life. And this awareness will lay a foundation for you to become overcoming scarcity mindset. So once you're aware of it, you're able to change it. Next, observing how and when jealousy, comparison, and scarcity mindset show up in your life. So this right here, is another activity that's going to help you out a ton. So if you want, you can screenshot this or you can write these down. But this exercise is about tuning into your own comparison, jealousy, and scarcity mindset in the moment, and using those feelings as a mirror to be introspective and to learn more about yourself. So a lot of what we do here at FitAF is a lot of self-reflection, and just a lot of being able to learn more about yourself and your habits so that you can change them and live that healthier lifestyle. So it really does, like I talk about this a lot, especially to my husband. It's not the fitness and nutrition for most people. It's what's up in here. It's in your mind. And when you're able to become the master of your mind, you're able to make these changes so much easier. So if you think that you're struggling with nutrition, you think you're struggling with workouts or with time management, that's not what it is. We need to put up a mirror. We need to self-reflect and figure out what's going on a deeper level. And this helps with that a ton. So to do this exercise, ask yourself the following questions. What am I doing, or who am I with when these feelings of comparison and jealousy arise? So again, you're going to kind of look into, like, where am I hearing these things? Am I watching TV? Am I scrolling through social media, talking to a coworker, attending a family dinner, etc.? So what am I doing? Who am I with when it comes up the most, right? Next, what am I comparing or feeling jealous of? That might be someone else's body, their hair, their relationship, job, success, children, finances, happiness, etc. What am I jealous of them for? Next, how does this make me feel? So does it make me feel like I'm not good enough, that I'm jealous of them? Maybe I'm annoyed at them, like I'm falling behind, maybe. Maybe it's feelings of frustration with yourself. Maybe it's guilt because you're not taking the steps to get to that point, something like that. Next, what do I do when this happens? So do I stop engaging with what's making me feel bad? Do I torture myself by consuming more of what makes me jealous? Do I berate myself for what I'm not or what I don't have? Do I start gossiping or talking down about the woman I'm feeling jealous of? Do I numb my feelings with food, alcohol, or something else, right? So these kinds of self-reflection are going to be huge. And if you start practicing this, oh my gosh, it's going to transform your life completely. And that's why I'm so passionate about this. I plan on listening to this audiobook at least once a year. But the first time I did it, just absolutely life-changing. The way that I thought about myself and about other women just completely changed. So if you haven't listened to it, I recommend checking it out. And another tip, whenever you're moving through these self-reflection questions, and it's going to make us sound like a broken record, but when you notice these things, try not to judge yourself. Comparison and jealousy affect almost everyone from time to time, and judging yourself just is not useful. Instead, by noticing, naming, and recording what you're experiencing, you'll gain a greater awareness of how comparison and jealousy show up in your life, which is the first step to overcoming this tendency, becoming aware. So these are the mistakes and common pitfalls. Sorry, I spelled pitfalls wrong. But the first thing, so if you don't want this to change anything, if you want to stay not feeling confident, if you want to stay feeling jealous all the time and comparing yourself, then what you're going to do is watch this and not take consistent action. So it is going to take some sort of consistency here, just like with any goal that you have, to make it happen. Next, no self-reflection. So not doing any sort of daily journaling or mindfulness or self-reflection methods. And that could be just as easy as answering those questions once a day. It'll take you like 2 minutes to do that. Or some sort of mindfulness practice like meditation, breath work. A lot of the time you can kind of work through these feelings and practice these things during your mindfulness practice. Next, judging yourself or others for falling into the comparison trap or scarcity mindset. So if you find yourself like becoming aware of these things, and this is something that I actually did and still kind of struggle with, this is hard because once you are so aware of it and you notice the tendencies and you know how negatively it affects people, it's hard not to judge yourself or others whenever you fall into it, but try your hardest not to. And if you catch yourself judging things, just reflect on it and you'll be able to change that too. Next, not setting boundaries for yourself and others around you. So this is like allowing your friends and family to gossip and you end up joining in. Now, this does take practice, and you're going to have hiccups sometimes. This is a hard conversation to have with people, and it's hard to break a deeply ingrained habit. So if you come to this point and now you're aware of all these things, it's totally okay to like fall back in this habit sometimes. It's just about catching yourself and becoming more consistent with it to the point where you're aware of what's happening, right? And it's hard to call people out. Molly talks about in the audiobook, she talks about calling people in, which instead of being like, if you find people are gossiping, you're in this big group, instead of saying something in front of everyone where, they'll feel ashamed, they'll feel like you're attacking them, and they'll probably raise up their guard and get defensive, and you won't get anywhere with it. So calling people in looks like maybe taking them aside and telling them, hey, like, the way that you were talking about this person, it's not right. It made me uncomfortable. Those kinds of things, and coming at it from that place. And it does take practice, and it takes a lot of being tactful and that kind of thing. And it is really hard. But my favorite thing, because I have a hard time calling people in still, my thing is just being a role model, just showing up as your best self, and you not practicing these things and not joining in. That is my favorite way of calling people in and showing, just being an example to your friends. And people pick up on this. Like, people pick up when you do not join in with this stuff. And sometimes you're going to find that maybe those people don't want to hang around you anymore, or maybe those people like catch on to it and they're not about it. And that's okay. That just shows that maybe that friend group is not the right friend group for you. And it sucks sometimes, but it does happen. And then the last thing is not working on having an abundance mindset yourself. So you need to be searching for abundance in your life so that you can attract it more. So look for people in successful women in successful positions. Look for what they did. Have role models that are successful women in doing the things that you want to do. So for example, I know if Tracy's yeah, I think you're still on here. So, like finding nurses that are flight nurses that are women, and, seeing what they did to get to that point, what habits they have, those kinds of things. For myself, it's like looking up to other women in wellness that are bodybuilders, other coaches that own businesses. Like, I follow them and I look up to them, and those kinds of things to get that abundance mindset. And that's another thing too, is if your social media is full of negativity, then the logarithm works to show you what you engage with. So if you get on Facebook and it's constant negative, like gossiping, just shit talking, like just negative shit, then the algorithm is designed to show you what you engage with. So my best tips for this are to go onto Instagram. And if you are constantly comparing yourself and you get off Instagram and you don't feel better than before you hopped on it, then I suggest you do an audit and check out the people that make you feel uncomfortable. Even if it's myself, if seeing like progress transformations and maybe pictures of me lifting or things like that, unfollow me for a little bit. It might take some time. Unfollow the people that, you're not ready to not compare yourself, unfollow them. And then the same thing with Facebook, stop engaging with things. Even if you're like going in and looking at their posts and looking through the comments, commenting back, you're going to get more of those negative things. So I suggest unfollowing people that are constantly negative and then engaging more with positive people. And you can literally curate your social media to be the most positive place. And that's what mine has come to now. And it does take some time and practice. But you're going to find that now you'll get onto social media and just feel so much better about it. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. But so if you truly feel like there's not enough to go around, then that's what you're going to attract. So you're going to attract catty workplaces. You're going to be in the gym and feel uncomfortable because you think everyone's looking at you and talking about you. Your mom groups are going to look like that because if you feel that way and you feel they're all out to get you, then that's what you're going to attract. And you're going to start like having those habits. So we want to get out of that. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do want to, indulge in these things, to get deeper with these things, I do have a free training on body image that will help you to improve your body image immediately, your self-talk. We talk a lot about moving to a more neutral place with self-talk. If you're super into that, then just DM me body image and I will send you the free training or the free coursework on that. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is going to be included in your course, and then there is going to be a replay on this too. So thank you guys so much. Have a good night.